Right, so this is my 11th year teaching completely. I have taught 7 years at brick and mortar, and then this is my 4th year at proximity learning. I did not want to send my kids full time to daycare, but it also was tearing me apart, leaving my passion. So, I mean, I left my job, and I mean, it was devastating. Like I was devastated leaving teaching, and then I ended up coming across proximity learning and just having the flexibility of being able to choose my classes, choose my times. Do I want a 4-day class? Do I want a 5-day class? That's predominantly what's offered for math. It just offered that I could still do my passion while also still being at home for my kids and not having to put the kids in full daycare and missing out all that quality time that you just never get back. And it's just been really an awesome opportunity to still do what I love, but also still be home with my kids. I really didn't feel a difference because when the pandemic hit, so I was at a district before the pandemic, like the school year beforehand at iLead Academy, and they're based in Kentucky. So once they went virtual, they were all required to sign on from home anyways. So for me personally, it did not affect the class at all since the students were used to signing on and now they're just signing on from home. So we had like more issues of like distractors in the background, which the teachers would like, their teachers would be like, you know, if you have a distractor, please turn it off. But you need to have your cameras on the entire class period unless you have a prior approval or if it's a Wi-Fi issue. But otherwise, your cameras are on. They have to show the entire face. Like a lot of the districts I worked at, you know, taught that etiquette beforehand the pandemic. So once pandemic hit and they were doing it at home, the etiquette was still there. The expectations were still there. So to teach virtual was really kind of nice. I had a lot of teachers who were brick and mortar go into freak out mode. They were contacting me. They were like, I don't know what to do. How do we Zoom? Like, how do you teach math online? Like, what do we do? So like, I was trying to reach out to as many teachers as I can to kind of like walk them through what they could be doing, you know, just to help bridge that gap. And so it was definitely, I felt helpful and useful during that time to other teachers. Like, that's the nice thing is that they knew me before the pandemic being online, and then pandemic, nothing really changed for them. Like just being at home was a difference. So many. The convenience is probably the biggest one. I'm home. I am more available for my students. I'm more available for my children. I work limited hours, so I'm not pulling the 40 hours a week. You know, I'm working part-time, so, but still do what I love. The pressure of being in a school is not there. I know there's a lot of politics when you're actually in brick and mortar. There's a lot of stressors, you know, pressure from that kids have to pass state tests. I don't feel that as much being in proximity. Even though, you know, you're striving to get these kids to pass the test, but I just don't feel that direct pressure of doing it. It's less stress, that you can choose your own hours. It's convenient. It can work around your schedule if you want to do other things, if you want to be active in your kids' schooling, like if they do projects or activities on Fridays, you can choose classes that you work Monday through Thursday, be off on Fridays. That way you can volunteer at all the things at your child's school, that it's less pressure. You actually just show up and do the job you want to do. You just teach the students, have direct contact with students without distractors. You transition if schools ever do shut down again for COVID, that you already have that experience of being virtual, that you could just continue and pick up right where you left off without skipping a beat. I came across proximity just as a Google search and started reading up on it, that you're actually teaching students. And I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to teach students in an actual classroom, it'll just be virtual instead of actually physically being there. So I applied and was very blessed to have this job. It is difficult, but I don't know. I just love it. I never get bored of it. There's something about, I have such a heart for teenagers. I want to always make those connections. I want to help them, not just math content wise, but also life. I look at these teenagers and they go through way more than any adult has ever gone through in their life. And they're only 15, 16 years old. So to have someone in their life that they can trust or they can go to if there's ever an issue, I want to be that person for them, like, and make that connection. So it goes way more beyond just teaching math. I just want to be there for that person because you never know what's going on in the student's life. I absolutely love Desmos. So Desmos has many different components. There is a scientific calculator portion to it. There is a graphing portion, and both of those are free. And they really imitate like the TIs calculators, which is really nice. And even some states, like Virginia specifically, does not use any like handheld calculators anymore for their state testing. They're actually using Desmos for their state testing as calculators. So to have that experience, I feel like more states are going to get on board with that since it is free and you don't have to pay $125 per calculator. So I really love Desmos in that aspect. So there's two. So the third aspect that I use a lot is their activities. So when you sign up for Desmos and it's all free, it's so nice. You create an account, it's free. You can browse through so many activities. So like Desmos has their own set activities that they built themselves. And you could go through that and, you know, copy it, set up a single session code. So you can either do a single session code or actually put all your students in. And if you're going to use it more consistently, but just doing a single session code, the students just log in, type their names in, and then they just complete the activity. The teacher has the teacher dashboard and they can see everything in live time. So I can see exactly where the student is, what question they're on, what they have typed in. So if I see something that, you know, maybe is incorrect or, you know, they didn't fully answer the question, I can actually send them a little message through Desmos where they get the notification on their end that like, hey, check out the slide. You might want to, you lost a negative or something like that, something small, and they could go back and fix it. So that's actually Desmos activities. Also, teachers can create their own too. So I've never once had to create anything. I have just maybe Googled the topic, solving inequalities, Desmos activity, and I'll get just Google from teachers, just regular teachers creating the activity where I could just copy their activity and just use theirs too. Or I could take the time and do it myself, but I've never had to create my own because I've always found someone else who created it for me. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. And it's just a really great resource.